Good morning, everybody. David Hem here. This is the Be Wealthy Podcast, episode 3, and that's WELLTHY on your FM dial. And today is a kind of a rainy, spritzy day. Shout out to all those marathon runners running away from their problems. Just kidding. Good for you. Good for you. So today, guys, I want to talk about are your thoughts even yours? Okay. Now, this might resonate with some. This might go right over the heads of many. Because, and if some of this stuff does resonate with you, it probably means that you're ready to hear it. Because sometimes I'm going to talk about things on this podcast that's not going to stick at all, and it's going to have and make kind of no sense to you. But, in order to understand, to comprehend some of this spiritual jargon or this personal development stuff, one has to be ready for this stuff. Okay. And what I mean by be ready for this stuff is that having experience to kind of cross-reference to apply in your life. Okay. Because some of the things I've learned in the past couple weeks, somebody tried to tell me years ago, but, it just didn't work for me because I had no idea what the hell they were talking about. So, hope you're doing well, hope you're rested. And if you even at the moment, think about this, even when you're listening to this podcast and when you're viewing this, there was a reason. There's a reason, right, that you're listening to it and viewing it and seeing it on your two-dimensional planes, right, your screen. So don't go over it lightly. Don't gloss over it. There's a reason why you're hearing this. There's a reason why it's being conveyed or passing through me at this particular moment in time. Because it's supposed to happen, right? And I always say this in class, like, how do you know something was meant to happen?
Because it happened.
Because it happened, that's right. Thanks, Kristen. The Bongru interjecting, saying, yeah, because it happened. That's the only way you know that things were meant to happen, because pretty much it happened. Nothing else happened but that. So let it happen, okay? And, a few things about the podcast. It's like I'm going to be jumping from dimensions, different dimensions at a time. Sometimes I could view it from the very, Sometimes I view subjects in a way that's on the earthly planes, okay? Sometimes I view things from emotion. It's like the camera lens, right? You could zoom in on something, right, and you could be really close to it, or you could zoom out on something called the objective. I think that's what it's called. I forget what it's called, but it's something how astronauts they call it something like the objective view. Something that's like there's only a few people that's seen the Earth from a different angle, like from way above, right? It's like when you're on an airplane and you're flying across country, and then you see the Grand Canyons, which I happened to do last year, and just seeing the massivity. I think that's the massivity of it all, huh? The massiveness, the massiveness of the Grand Canyon from the sky. That's what I mean by zooming out. Being able to see the forest from the trees. I think that's how it goes. You can either be inside the Grand Canyon and view it from ground level, or you can view things from above, from the sky.
Like this.
Do you see my bald spot? Am I balding up top?
No.
Oh, okay, good. Say hi.
Hi. Are you wealthy today? We are.
Very much so. Being wealthy, WELLTHY to the max. So as you come and venture with us at the Healing Fields Yoga, and you venture with us through this podcast, just remember I'm still a human, still working things out. Some of this information might be different tomorrow, or next week, or next month, but that's fine, right? Because I'm all about the learning. A student first and a teacher second. And that's how it's always going to be. So what are we talking about? Yes, we're talking about all your thoughts, even yours. I don't know. I don't even know. I don't know. Are these thoughts even mine? So I'm going to talk about myself in the second person or the third. Well, are these thoughts even mine? Okay. You're born. Okay. The first thing given to you or me was a name. I became David Dennis Hem on December 3rd, 1981, around 5:43 a.m., I believe it was. That time is alternative facts because I don't know that for sure. I know it's somewhere early in the morning, which I think is probably the reason why I wake up so early at times. Because that was the first time I ever woke up, being born, right? Because who knew? Who knew what the hell was before that? So anyway, being born, taking my first breath, given a name. And wait, maybe before even giving it, after giving a name, I was given a social security number. We'll get into that into another podcast. But that number itself was kind of like a tagging. Right? You're this number, you're this name, your parents are Han Hem and Kom Choi, birthplace Lehighton, Pennsylvania, and there it goes. That was like 5 labels I already received, 5 packages addressed to me saying, this is who you are. And as the years go by, I start to go into school. I start to get labels. I am Cambodian. I am 4 years old. And, around, I think it was somewhere in first grade, being picked on for being Chinese, which I wasn't. But, through ignorance of others. Not blaming here, but I'm just explaining. Not blaming, just explaining. And so right then, my first sensation of humiliation by someone scouring their face and calling me Chinese and how much they hate Chinese. I grew up thinking I was Chinese. And I identified with that, right? Asian, okay? And how that creates this momentum of wanting to be something else. So these were the labels. The labels are, and this is how the labels can, can hurt us, And these are the things that was given to us, right? So now I'm identifying with things that not necessarily mine, because as we know, there's not all these races. Well, this is what I know, all right? You can believe what you want, but I only believe there's only one race, and that's the human race, and that's me zooming out. So if you want, we're going to zoom back in. So you go through life and you collect identity, you collect gender, you collect certificates, you collect grades, right, in class, A's, B's, and C's. Dave doesn't play along with others. He's Chinese. But and then you start to identify with things. Well, because look, we're new to the world at these ages. We're not born with a plethora of knowledge already standard, which is part of the joy of the unraveling and the human conditioning, because, over time you start to disassociate with some of these things that cause you pain. But anyway, back to collecting these things. And Eckhart Tolle talks about there's pretty much two things in life. There's objects and there's space. Things and there's space, right? This microphone is a thing, and around it is space encapsulating the things, right? And he goes on into emotional things that we collect. Again, pride. I'm Cambodian. I'm a male, and da 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 da. And over time, we tend to defend these things because people will say things. You will hear things that are going to upset you because, well, I've identified with these things. So yeah, the grades, and if you're not, like me, it was hard for me to focus in class, and I couldn't at the time comprehend, read very well, and so I thought it was stupid, right? Which brings me to this Einstein quote, right? So we're all geniuses, right? I'm paraphrasing, of course, that we're all geniuses, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, then the fish will grow up thinking that it's stupid. I don't think he said stupid, but he said something else. But a fish's natural thing is to swim underwater. Okay? It ain't got no business climbing trees. So, everyone has that gift, right? Everyone has that gift of their own unique, special quality gift. But we'll get back to that later. So you get these things, you identify with things, and these things will end up causing you pain, right? And you think about the emotional things, that stuff itself too can create some quarrel within ourselves. Anyway, so in school we start to give in these labels, right? A dog goes bark or woof or ruff. A cat goes meow. A duck goes moo. No, it doesn't. Duck goes quack for the most part. So we grow up, we get these things. We learn something Alan Watkin calls the concrete self. Yes, he's a co-founder of Complete Coherence, and something called the concrete conscious, right? So this tend to happen around age 6 and 9 years old, and we start to learn the rules that govern the concepts, right? Like red light, red is red, meaning stop, green is green, go, and things of that sort. And on his TED Talk, where you can find where I got this information from, is that most people stay in the concrete self, right, at 6 and 9 years old, emotionally. So 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old, most people are still in that concrete consciousness, right? And it's in the title, right? It's concrete, it's hardened, it's in there, it's heavy, it's already locked in there. And we need to learn how to dismantle that, right? You go and to evolve into, because we don't want to be emotionally immature, right? And he believes that our inability to evolve is because we don't know how to control our own emotions. And that's the point, and that's the beauty of the yoga practice for me, right? And here's the thing, it's not necessary that people find or want to break free from the concrete consciousness, right? Because if you're lucky and if you're fortunate enough to have your reality shaken to the core, or something flips your life upside down and makes you question your existence, which most people don't. Or sometimes it will happen and most people don't do nothing about it. So this is the old victim mentality, right? Things are happening to me. Why this is happening to me, right? And you can think yourself into a disease or dis-ease. Yeah, like us at the Western culture, it's probably the only place where we think ourselves into a disease. Anxiety, depression, and that shit is fatal. Think about suicide, right? And it happens to us at our own hands, on our own hands. And it's sad. It's very sad. But there's a way out. And this is the whole point of the Be Wealthy podcast, because I'm just hoping to shed light and share a message to help open that up. But it won't happen until you find acceptance with it. Because how do you fix something that you don't even know that's broken? It's like the plumbing system at your house. You got to go inside to fix an internal problem. You got to open up the walls, to open up the drywall and look behind if there's a leak. If there's something wrong with your toilet or some shit, right? Because you can't fix an internal problem with an external solution. Oh boy, do we try though. We definitely do try. We try to fuck our way into the solution. We try to smoke our way into the solution. We try to buy our way into the solution. We try to eat our way into the solution. We try to do all these things, right? But let's not discredit those attempts, those efforts, right? Because in those efforts of sincerity, shit ultimately leads us into the self, right? We have to go all the way around, try all these things just to get back to the self. Because how else would you know if they didn't work, right? If they can work. You need to know. You know what I mean? And it's within that knowing, it's within all those efforts, it's within all that heartache, it's within all that suffering that'll ultimately lead us back into ourselves. Right? It's like that thing. It says, money can't buy you happiness. But I want to try at least. I need to know for myself. And that's just the way the human conditioning is. We need to know for ourselves, right? So many people can tell us, yeah, that's not going to be it. But shut up. I'll find out on my own. And which we do. And sometimes we don't. So, back to, are these thoughts even ours, right? Because we're given all these concepts and we're given all these laws. We're given all these regulations. Focus here. You need to study this. Do your homework here. So we're conditioned to listen to authority, right? We're conditioned to do what we're told, right? And again, not blaming, just explaining. Because people are just doing what they've been taught, right? Your parents, teachers, cops, all these things, somebody told them, taught them at the same, and here we are, next generation. But again, you got to do something about it. You have to, all right? You have to. So all these thoughts are someone else's, right? Because these thoughts end up being our feelings, and our feelings end up being actions, and actions end up being habits, and habits ultimately define your destiny. So if you're sad and angry and you're depressed, these are nothing other than all these things don't happen without thought, without thinking. You can't have anger without cross-referencing something that creates anger, right? Energy flows where attention goes. So wherever my attention is, because my attention is the thoughts, if it's on a thought and it's not so nice, it's not so spicy, then my energy is just going to go that way. And that's what emotions are. Energies in motion, which I like to say emotions, emoceans, because they're just waves. And waves are curves, right? Vibrations. Thoughts itself. right, is a vibration. It can make you get out of bed. It can make you stay in bed. It can make you hate the world. It can make you love the world. So if these thoughts that are making me hate the world and is making me hate myself, I need to look at these thoughts. I had to go to the epicenter of the feelings. So, whew. Again, you have to look and see, like, are these thoughts even mine? Every thought you have, maybe it's given to you from some media source, right? So I think about it. It's like the people that I don't even know and I have an opinion about were based on a source, some news coverage or some media platform that's told me about this person. So this is why considering the source is such a major component to personal development. Because the source, right, maybe higher source, media source, these things shape our opinion on people, right? So many people I don't even know and I got a shitty feeling towards. That's ridiculous. These ain't even my thoughts. These are thoughts of news anchors or thoughts of books or thoughts of YouTube streams. These are other people's thoughts. So, learning to understand where your thoughts come from. And then also knowing who you are, right? What makes you happy. Because then you can start to digest other people's thoughts that are friendly. You can start to veer away from the negativity. Because it's those thoughts that's going to ultimately shape your reality. All right, so I'll be back. We're not done yet. This is just the beginning. This is the Be Wealthy Podcast. And you gotta be it. Be it and share it. Okay? Be Wealthy Podcast. Come to practice at the Healing Fields Yoga and support us. All right? All classes sliding scale from 10 to 20 bucks. And I hope to see you there. Be alert, without tension. See you on the flips. Pieces.